does. She puts energy into those plants, and they're growing. It's a huge difference. So if you have time to hand water your garden, it puts you in touch with it like nothing else will. You see the plants every day, or every third day, whatever it is, and you really get to see what's going on with them, how they're growing, if they've got bugs, you know. But the drip irrigation systems are great if you're not home a lot, and you want to be on a timer, and they will shut off. The new ones even will sense the weather and shut off when it rains, so that's kind of cool.
Well, besides the cost, what's the disadvantage of the little?
I don't think that the gardens thrive as well, you know.
Is it like a soaker hose?
Pardon me?
Is it like a soaker hose?
You can buy it's a micro laser line. You can buy those and bury them under the mulch, and I think that those would work pretty good. I think those work pretty well. These actually have drip emitters built into them, and these emitters will only release a certain amount of water over a certain period of time, and it depends on what you buy. It's called Netafim, and you can get this stuff at any irrigation store or Home Depot, Lowe's, stuff like that.
Is that the tech line?
It's similar, I think. Is tech line the tape, the flat tape?
I think it's the same.
I think it's the same. It's just a different manufacturer.
The tech line has the pressure regulated.
Yes, that's what this is.
Okay.
I think one of them is made by Rainbird, and the other one is maybe the tech line. They're very similar. And it's also difficult to roll up and move,
right.
you know. But I did see some. Julia, do you know what they use up at this?
Yeah, we use T-tape.
T-tape.
Yeah, which is a flat.
I think we're going to switch to that. It's easier to handle. It's less expensive, and it looks like it works better to me. But
I have a question about hand watering.
Yeah.
So do you give them a little sort of how to water tomatoes as opposed to kale and not to get leaves wet and that kind of thing?
we do, and you know, they thrive at different times of the year too. So it's all seasonal. It's all about the particular soil. This soil is very poor, and we put a lot of amendments and mulch on it to keep it cool, but it's just awful soil. But yes, we do. We talk about and that's why our business is catered to the individual. It's like everybody's growing environment is different for the most part. So, and each plant, you're right, has different requirements.
Do you ever have a problem with neighbors having, you know, if they're like more of the traditional landscape as opposed to?
I find that neighbors are fascinated by this. Really, it's way more interesting. Kara has her garden, the same thing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to have my back turned to you. Kara has her garden, same thing. People just stop by and ask questions and want to know more. Yes?
Do you ever direct seed when you've done sheet mulching?
I have not, no. If you do that, my assumption is that you would have to dig into it and get that, you know, all that compost and stuff worked in there. We put in, a lot of our gardens will have one area for raised beds where you can direct seed. And if you were going to direct seed big seeds like squash and stuff, just pull the straw back and then make your mound and use that. Yeah.
Do you find working with raised bed better than this?
No, it's just an alternative. And then some people have a lot of gopher problems, or their soil is that alluvial clay, which is just really, really difficult. And in that case, it's almost easier to import soil and start with something a little bit more manageable. And also for people who don't want to take, this is a huge commitment here. And we always try and recommend that people are starting out, take a piece, take a small piece, and be successful, because if you spread out and do something big like this, you really have to be committed to it. This is so start with a small raised bed, and those are easy. Let's see that next. This is another front yard garden, and this is why I don't think neighbors have a problem with the way it looks. It does have some straw for ground cover. It smells really nice. There's a grapevine up there, artichokes. I don't know if you can see them, but these are blueberry plants in the front with blueberries on them. There's another grapevine along the fence there, and you know, we always put flowers in. Flowers will draw the beneficial insects into your garden, and they're food for the soul, so it's always good to have flowers in there. There's another blueberry plant over there.
I
So I know blueberries they like really acidic soil. So how do you
Well, if you group them in an area, which is good for them in a few ways, grouping them in an area helps to pollinate, but also you amend your soil according to the plant. So you can add things to increase the acidity of your soil, which peat moss is an option. It's not a sustainable product, but it is available to us now, and you can use that to beef up your soil in that.
you have success with it?
Mm-hmm. Those blueberries are full of berries. And our soil here is very alkaline. Our water's very alkaline and salty, so we mulch with a lot of peat moss on that. It's another picture of that garden that was just Bermuda grass. There is a fence around this garden, but it's not an enclosed garden. It keeps people off the street, but it also is open and inviting to people. And she's come out and seen people actually standing in the garden looking at it, you know. And they're jazzed, you know. They're not hungry. They're jazzed.
I had a question about what you decide to grow in people's gardens. Do you try to let them decide, or do you just kind of whatever they want to grow?
What we do is I have a form, and it's got every kind of plant that I can think of, and just say, this is your wish list, just mark it off. Right. And they might check broccoli in the middle of summer, and so then it becomes an educational thing. Right. I know you love broccoli, but we're going to plant that this fall, you know. Right now let's plant this. Another good thing about growing your own food in your front yard is it really teaches people how to eat seasonally. Mm-hmm. You know, like someone was talking at the last thing I was at about broccoli at $1 a pound. Well, broccoli at $1.10 a pound is probably in the middle of summer. If you get broccoli in the winter, it's 60 cents a pound. And the reason is that's when broccoli grows. So when you start eating locally, you'll also be eating seasonally and vice versa. And a lot of these gardens we go back and do maintenance on, so we already know, okay, it's fall, these tomatoes are shot, let's get them out, and she likes broccoli, let's put it in. So we go and maintain these seasonally for them.
That's an awesome garden.
Isn't that pretty?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
What's your average cost for doing?
There is no average cost, and I know that sounds like a cop-out, but it's true, because it's every lawn and situation is different. If we have to travel up to Murrieta to do a garden, it's going to cost a little bit more than if we do it in South Park. So,
Do you charge it like an assessment where you go on site and you look at the land?
We charge a consultation fee, and again, that is when I first started doing this business, I didn't charge. But what I found was there were a lot of people that weren't really committed to the idea, and when you charge somebody for something, it seems to place a value on it. And so we charge anywhere from $45 to $75, depending on how far we have to go.
And once you develop the program, you actually go on site. Do the people actually help you build this?
They do.
Good.
Yeah, they do. Our business is to install and teach. We don't. Very few times do we just show up and maintain them. Most of our gardens, the homeowner is right in there with us and learning. And we try and schedule our appointments so it's when they're home, when their kids are home, so that the kids can get in there and learn as well.
Sure. Good.
You know, those are some just amazing artichokes, just so beautiful. What a great landscape plant. Yeah.
What are the main factors you're assessing when you try to calculate cost for somebody?
The type of soil, the condition of the soil, the type of grass, what that particular client wants. Some people just want a small raised garden, some people want their lawn ripped out. What they want to grow, things like that.
What's the cheapest and the most expensive garden
that we put in? We have a minimum of around 300 because we're all skilled farmers. We're horticulturists and we know what we're doing. And then the most expensive one, I'd say it's like 2,500.
I have another quick question for you.
Yeah.
It seems like in downtown